Hello and welcome back to my channel, or welcome if you are new here. Today I thought I would show you a little bit of something that I've been doing quite a bit the last few weeks, and that is making ACEOs, or small trading card sized artwork. I have been making them using acrylic paint markers, my Tombow dual brush pen and pencil combination, as well as some watercolor, and then in this video you'll see that I use some Faber-Castell Pit Artist pens and microns, which is another one of my favorite combinations. This is a quick look at everything that was completed so far, and some of them are a little bit more finished nature themed drawings, and then some like these cats are just kind of goofy and more fun, just so there's a little bit of variety. But one thing I've really been enjoying using is my paint markers, so that's what I've used a lot of, and of course always using my color swatch book to make sure I'm using the right colors. Since these are pretty small and kind of themed and almost matching sets, I do usually pick out my colors in advance just so I know what I'm working with, and I'm not worried so much about the colors being realistic as I am just of having good contrast. So for these ones, for example, I am using a very pale pink and yellow for the lightest colors, and then a middle toned orange. And then for the darkest colors, I have this dark blue and then red, which I will use for the accents and details on the stingrays. I wanted to make some stingrays, but I wasn't sure exactly what angle I wanted, so I made a couple sketches in my sketchbook first and decided which one I liked better, and then after that I will make the official one on my little squares of paper, or rectangles. They are 2.5 by 3.5 inches, so they are the size of a standard trading card, and a lot of business cards are a similar size, maybe a tiny bit smaller. It's just kind of a really good size for people if you want to use card sleeves to protect them. If you want to display them, you can, or some people will have trading card books that they will fill with all of their artwork that they have gotten. So that is why ACEOs use this size. Since I did record these videos over a few different days, that is why you will see the angles change and the filming method change a few times through this video, which I will talk about a little bit more later, but just in case you were wondering about that. There are a few different ways that you can get the paper to size for your ACEOs. I've seen some people paint or draw on an entire sheet of paper and then cut them to size afterwards. I prefer cutting my paper before I start making art on it, just so I know already what size I need to make my art. So I use pads of paper, I use watercolor for my watercolor paintings and my acrylic paint markers, and then I use Bristol paper for anything with markers. And then I just take those sheets, which are 9 by 12 inches I believe, and I cut them to size on my own. And I always make sure that the side that I have cut and pressed downward is facing the same direction, because it does make a tiny bit of a crease along the edge of the paper. I also end up with some extra pieces that are 1.5 by 2.5 inches, and I will use those for color swatches or little thumbnails, but I always make sure that those extra pieces that are not a part of the ACEOs are from the side where the paper was glued, because sometimes the glue doesn't come off and you don't want to include that on one of your finished art pieces. So if you are wanting to make these, that is also something to keep in mind. And if you are not an artist who makes or plans on making these, and you're just here because you like seeing the way that people make things, that's great too. I have had a lot of fun watching how people make things that are basically the same thing but in so many different ways, because there's not really any one way that you have to make these. I've seen people pull them out of sketchbooks and cut them up. I've seen people cut their papers beforehand. I've seen people have single papers that they tape down to their table and then they cut up when they're finished. There's so many different ways to make these, and I think that's part of what makes it interesting to watch videos about art. Even if you're doing the same thing or making the same thing, there's a lot of different ways that you can do it. So I thought I would just show my process in case anyone was curious, and for those people like me that like seeing the different ways that it can be done. I have this little container that I hold my finished pieces in, as well as the papers before I use them, and that's just an easy way to keep them from getting bent, keep them all together, and to keep them safe. At this point, I had mainly been making marker and acrylic paint marker art, so I decided to switch over to watercolor and use this sketchbook spread as my inspiration. So I got out my Kate Paper Co. watercolor set, and I only used this for these watercolors just to help keep it with one matching set of colors, and I tried to use similar colors out of the set on every piece, even if they were a little bit different subjects. I tried to keep using similar colors just to make sure that they all did match. Since these are something new and something I have not sold before, I thought I would give you a little bit of an overview of what my plan for them is. None of them are live or active at the moment as I'm recording this, but I plan to have them up on my website at a set price for a few days. I'm thinking probably 4, probably a Thursday through a Sunday, and then I will take all of the listings down even if they haven't sold, and everything that has sold will be packaged and mailed out the Monday, which would be the next day. I will add them for auction either on eBay or Tiny Gallery, maybe both websites, I'm not really sure yet. But on Tiny Gallery, they can only be up for a maximum of 5 days. The set price would ship out on Monday, and then I'm planning to put them up from Tuesday through Saturday, so that would be the 5 days that they'd be available for auction. And then once those auctions are done on Saturday, I will pack everything on Sunday and then mail it out on Monday. So that's kind of my plan for the time frame of how the sales would work. I will have them at a slightly higher price on my website since that is a set price. So if you order from there, you'll know for sure that you get the painting that you want or the art piece that you want, but you might miss out if someone else buys it. Or you can wait until it's available for auction, possibly save a couple dollars. It just depends on how the auctions go. I don't have a set date for my first release yet because I wanted to make sure that I had quite a few pieces ready, and I'm going to have a few different styles. I'm going to have watercolor paintings, of course, acrylic paint marker illustrations, water-based marker illustrations, which is going to be Pit Artist pen with microns, and then some that are Tombow dual brush pens with pencil. So there's at least 4 kinds. For now, that's what I'm going to start with. And then they're going to be different collections depending on the subject. So these watercolor paintings are tropical themed. I have the paint marker cats. I have some paint marker underwater themes. If you're not particularly interested in buying them, that is totally fine. I just wanted to explain all of that in this video, and it is also in my link page. You'll be able to see those on there, and I have all the details. I have links to my main website and then to Tiny Gallery and just some other information all listed out there if you want to go read it and if that would be easier to understand there. Again, I just wanted to include that information because this is something new and something that I haven't been doing before. And again, none of these are live yet. None of them are going to be live for at least another couple of weeks, and all of the posts about when they are live and where you can find them will be on all of my social media, Instagram, Facebook, TikTok, all of those things. And if you are interested in any of those, you can follow on those platforms to make sure that you don't miss out on the news of when any of these go live. As you probably noticed earlier, I do swatch all of the colors used on each of these pieces on the back of the paper, but with watercolor I didn't want to do that because I didn't want it to make a mess or to smudge either the painting or the watercolor swatches on the back. So this is when my little extra scraps come in handy. I pulled out some of those scraps that are 1.5 by 2.5 inches, and I used those for the swatches for these paintings. So it's kind of a fun little bonus. You get a little swatch page, and then I also write the name of the painting on there as well, just so you don't get it mixed up. Or if you have it stored separately from the painting, you still know what it goes with. But I thought that was just kind of a fun way to show all of the colors that I used, instead of having it on the back and possibly making a mess out of it. Another thing that I talked about in my last video, which was about travel art, was that I didn't have a tripod that I could bring traveling, so I was holding my camera with my hand while trying to draw with my other hand, and sometimes that was a little bit shaky or not the greatest angle or view. But I recently found on sale a little tripod that is a very small tripod, but it can go up to about, I think, like 3.5 or 4 feet tall. It can hold my camera or my phone without me having to bring any extra things, which is great because usually I have to bring an extra little clamp that will hold my phone to add it to my other tripods. And this one has it built in, which is really great. And you can even have your phone and your camera mounted at the same time, which I thought was pretty cool. Anyway, point being, I got a different tripod that I can film a little bit better, and it's very small and compact, so I can take it outside, I can take it on trips, any of those things. I don't have to bring my giant tripod around and try to get an angle that you'll actually be able to see well. I can get overhead shots while I'm sitting on the ground, sitting outside, all of those things. And it's small enough that it is easy to take around different places. It doesn't take up too much space or get in the way, so that's really great. And I know that's kind of a random update, but I remembered that I had talked about that a little bit in my last video and how I didn't have a tripod that I brought with me. So I thought I would give the random update in this video now. Anyway, back to the actual artwork. These are inspired by some photos that I took, I believe, in June of this year on a drive that we went on. They are not an exact recreation of any of those photos, but I was inspired by some of the scenery that we saw and kind of combined a few different things together. So this isn't any one location, and it's a little bit more just of a general mountainy meadow, but I also have a little collection using these markers and using all the same colors like I mentioned earlier, so they kind of visually go together even though they are different scenery, different areas, and they're not going to be sold together, they'll just be individual, but I wanted to make kind of a little collection of these. I had a lot of fun doing that, and these are so great because I can take them outside and I can just sketch and doodle anywhere, and I don't have to just stay inside to make them. So I really enjoy that about ACEOs, and that has made them a lot of fun to make as well. I know this video has been a little bit different than usual with jumping around between different mediums, lighting, angles, supplies, all of those things, but I just want to say thank you for watching, for sticking around through it, and if you have any questions, anything you'd like to hear about my process for making these, or anything along those lines, feel free to let me know in the comments below, and thank you again so much for watching, and I will see you next time.